Puja, do all for tuning in. Puja. I see your eye. Right. Puja, do all for tuning in tonight. Jai Official has been tuning in. And tonight we're here in honor of the Unitarian calendar observance for October 9th. Ra judges the dispute between Heru and Set. And this is my first time following this calendar with actually taking action. Usually I just see it the next day and say, oh, I forgot to do something. And so I decided to start honoring the holy days with musical offerings and wisdom teachings. And so tonight is about Ra, Heru, and Set. So I'm going to open up. Oops. Heck out to Anpu. Anpu is the opener of the way. And Anpu is the brother of Heru and the son of Asar, who's the father of Heru. And this whole myth about the dispute between Heru and Set came about because Set killed Heru's father when he learned that Asar had impregnated Anpu's mother, who was the twin sister of Aset. So it sounds like quite a family drama. We have to realize that not only are they our spiritual ancestors, they represent cosmic forces or spiritual principles. So a quick run through. Asar is the soul. Ra is the sun, represents creation. And Ra has three forms. We'll be talking about that later. Set is divine intuition. Nebuchadnezzar is our physicality and mortality. Heru represents spiritual aspiration. Anpu, discernment, can tell the difference between the real and unreal. And Set, of course, is egoism, or our betters and our lower nature. So we're going to open up with a heck out for Anpu. And this is taken from the lyrics are taken from the Chautauqua Nectar Prayer Book Manual. And it's one of the chants that's offered daily. And it's also available on my Egyptian Blue Lotus Speaks Volume 1. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Remove obstacles to my success in my spiritual practice. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Lead souls through the narrow pathways to know the difference between real and unreal. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Nothing between heaven and hell. Days black as night, golden as the day. Equally watchable by night is by day. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. May Anpu make my ties firm, so that I can stand upon them. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. I washed myself in the waters where Anpu washed himself, where he was the officer of embomber and bandager. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. Oh, Anpu, open the ways. My lips are the lips of Anpu. 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 Tap. I don't know if you noticed, but we had a visit from my Aunt Pooh, my dog Sybil. Right when I started clapping, she started whining, and then once I started singing, she walked over here and walked around, and now that I'm done, she's laying back down. So that was fun. Okay. Next, I'm going to go through the 4 great truths because they have a reference to Set. I'll give you a little bit more information. And I like to read the translations first so you have an idea of what's being expressed. There's no right or wrong, just like so you know what I'm singing about. The translation. Because I know the translation, I just don't want to make a mistake. Where's that page? Here we go. Okay. So the first one is the nature of the Supreme Being is one and alone and is never manifesting everywhere in all things in the form of gods and goddesses. And I'm going to go ahead and read the commentary. Neverger means all-encompassing divinity, the all-inclusive, all-embracing spirit which pervades all and who is the ultimate essence of all. This first truth unifies all the expressions of Tibetan religion. And again, this is taken from the Chaitanya Devotional Prayer Manual. And the second one, lack of righteousness brings fetters to the personality, and these fetters lead to ignorance of the divine. Commentary. When a human being acts in ways that contradict the natural order of nature, negative qualities of the mind will develop within that person's personality. These are the afflictions of Set. Set is the nectar of egoism and selfishness. The afflictions of Set include anger, hatred, greed, lust, jealousy, envy, gluttony, dishonesty, hypocrisy, etc. So to be free from the fetters of Set, one must be free from the afflictions of Set. So we're going to be learning a little bit more about Set later in the program. For now, just know that a lack of righteousness brings fetters to the personality, and these fetters lead to ignorance of the divine. So it's kind of like a cycle, because ignorance of the divine is what causes unrighteousness. And then unrighteousness brings fetters to us through our personality, and then these fetters lead to ignorance of the divine. So it's really important to live in accordance with Ma'at, so that you're living in righteousness. And then also to fight ignorance of the divine means to acknowledge your divinity and the divinity in others. That's one way in a nutshell. And then the next one will be devotion to the divine leads to freedom from the fetters of Set. So that's another way, is just by expressing devotion or showing devotion, acts of devotion. To be liberated, Nafu, freedom to breathe, from the afflictions of Set, one must be devoted to the divine. Being devoted to the divine means living by Ma'at. Ma'at is a way of life that is purifying to the heart and beneficial for society as it promotes virtue and order. Living by Ma'at means practicing Sheti spiritual practices and disciplines. Uashu means devotion, and the classic pose of adoring the divine is called Dua. You have your hands like this. Standing or sitting with upraised hands facing outwards towards the image of the divinity. So we also greet one another with our hands in this way because we're greeting the divinity in one another. Uja, greetings. Thank you for being here tonight. And then the fourth one, the practice of the Shetty disciplines leads to knowing oneself as a divine. This is called being true of speech. Doing Shetty means to study profoundly, to penetrate the mysteries, Shachalt, and discover the nature of the divine. There have been several practices designed by the sages of ancient Kemet to facilitate the process of self-knowledge. These are the religious Shachal traditions and the Sima, Smai Tawi yogic disciplines related to them that augment the spiritual practice. All the traditions relate the teachings of the sages by means of myths related to particular gods or goddesses. And remember, gods and goddesses are cosmic forces of nature. The word nature comes from netter. Gods and goddesses are called netters, netteru. So it's not just images that we're worshiping or deities or ancestors. We're actually connecting with cosmic forces of nature. It is understood that all of these Neteru are related like brothers and sisters, having all emanated from the same source, the same supremely divine parent, who is neither male nor female, but encompasses the totality of the two. All right, so now I'm going to offer the, let's see if I can get this, I can see the drum. Let's see a little bit. All right, YouTube. Say what you say, not food inside you say. Madishani Rakavim Marketu. Monitor, I would never share it, better do. On the arts, we say you said, say, come in. Say what you say, not food inside you say. Madishani Rakavim Marketu. Monitor, I would never share it, better do. On the arts, we say you said, say, come in. Say what you say, not food inside you say. Madishani Rakavim Marketu. Monitor, do I never share it, better do. On the arts, we say you said, say, come in. Say what you say, not food inside you say. Madishani Rakavim Marketu. And so I learned that melody from Say by Ma, Dr. Wanda Ashby, and also just a variation that came through. Marty. Okay, now we'll recite read from the Purdit Meru. We're instructed to make offerings to Ra and Asar, and I add Nebuchadnezzar. And on days like this, when I have a lot to offer, I have a chant that combines them in one. Om Nebuchadnezzar, Capra Sorrow. 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 Om chat. So Nebuchadnezzar, who we mentioned earlier, is the all-encompassing divinity that simply had a thought and manifested Kepra, who in turn created all of creation. And it's important to remember that creation is an illusion, that only Nebuchadnezzar is real in this Natarian philosophy. Okay, now I'm going to make an offering for the three forms of Ra. Ra, Kepra at the beginning of the day, sunrise, Ra at midday, and Ra Temu or Temu Ra at the end of the day. Remember, this is a musical offerings for Ra judging the dispute between Heru and Set. So making offerings for Ra, Heru, and Set. Ra, Heru, and Set. So this is for the three forms of Ra. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Ra Tem. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Tem Ra. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Ra Tem. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Ra Tem. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Ra Tem. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Tem Ra. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Ra Tem. Dua Kepra, Dua Ra, Dua Tem Ra. Adoration to the three forms of Ra, Kepra, Ra, and Ra Tem. All right, now we're going to have an offering for Heru. Let's try this one. And the translation for this Hekau, of course, Dua means adorations. Dua. Dua Heru, adorations to Heru. Sa Asar Aset, son of Asar and Aset. Aha Ma'at, who stands for Ma'at. Ubin Tawi, the light of the world. Nesta Tawi, the king of kings. And Sutenhe, king of eternity. And this Hekau was composed by Sevama, and I put it to a melody. And it's also available on Blue Lotus Speaks Volume 1. And this is a harp that I purchased at the outside of the Temple of Heru in Edfu. Oops. So, yeah. And heard all right. Dua Heru Sasarase Dua Dua Heru Ahmad Dua Dua Heru Bentawi Dua Dua Heru Nesta Tawi Tua Jua Heru Suten Hey Jua Jua Heru Sasara Set Jua Jua Heru Ahmad Jua Jua Heru Ubentawi Jua Jua Heru Nesta Tawi Jua Jua Heru Suten Hey Jua 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 Heru Hacha. Next is a very unusual song. It's a song for Set, the netter Set. And there aren't very many songs for Set. He's got a pretty bad reputation. Although he's doing his job, and in the end, he was able to turn things around and be considered one of the good guys. I mean, they're all good guys, but in the end, he was able to conquer his ego and submit to truth and righteousness, and is the protector of the bowl of Ra. He's now protecting creation against the enemy of creation, who at one time was the number one. You know how the superhero has the number one? Well, Apep, or Chaos, was the right-hand man of Set. And now Set is at the front of the boat protecting creation. I remember Jua Set, the most powerful of the Neteru. Jua Set conquered the ego in the battle with Heru. Jua Set, this battle lives inside of me and you. Jua Set, in each moment we must choose. Sweet side, you said, say command. Say washu, say nafu, inside you said. Jua Set protects the boat of Ra against the cap. Unconquered Set is the nectar of egoism and selfishness. Defeated Set continues to work in the surfaces of rock. Set at the helm, we can travel far. Instead of seeking to gain the throne of Asar by unrighteous means, obstructing the path of the bar, along with his Confederate friends, and indulging in animal passions. Jua Set, the most powerful of of the Neteru, do I set. Conquered the ego in the battle with Heru, do I set. This battle lives inside of me and you, do I set. In each moment we must choose. Do a set. Attempt. Yes, Set lives within each and every one of us, and it's up to us to control and tame our ego and win the battle with Heru as steering the boat rather than Set steering the boat. And Set is actually the origin of what is called Satan in other traditions, or hell in other traditions. Satan is just our ego, our egoism. When we allow our ego to rule our lives or to rule situations, that's when Satan appears. And it's not that we're fighting something outside of us, it's something inside of us. And one of the things that I wanted to share, because we're about to move into the teachings, Uja and Bazonia, long time, is a current battle I've been having within, and that is how to respond to egoism. When egoism bubbles up inside of me, or when I see it in others, it's only, hasn't even been a year. Well, has it been a year? I don't know, getting times mixed up. I guess this was last year when Corona started, when I was certified in the level 2 of Tef Neteru, the Simatawi yoga posture system, that I was brought into the awareness of my own egoism. I hadn't really identified it or gotten to know it until then. And once I was able to see it in others, see it in myself, of course, that enabled me to see it more readily in others, and thereby have compassion for myself and others when our egoism flares up. And so what I've been learning the past few days leading up to this program is how to respond to egoism in myself and others. And it's really a form of protection when you think about it. And my choice is to respond with calmness, stillness, protectiveness, wisdom, kindness, peacefulness, truthfulness, honesty, love, and compassion. So that is how I am imprinting myself to respond to egoism. And one thing that I've learned about egoism is that I don't like speaking up to egoism when it's in myself or others. I don't like facing Set, so I will avoid confrontation. And that people don't like it when I speak up, protecting myself or my soul. People don't like it, and so that's another reason why I don't like confronting Set. It's because people don't like it. And so the third thing is I realize that I tend to avoid situations or relationships when I had the experience of egoism flaring up. Then I didn't know how to confront it then, and I'm just now learning how to confront it. So egoism is really affecting me in a lot of ways that I previously wasn't aware of. So I highly advise you to take a moment to learn more about egoism, how it flares up in your personality, and noticing it in others and responding with compassion, because we're all here to defeat Set. Okay, so now I've got something to share, some readings on the battle of Heru and Set. And this is taken from the African Religion, Volume 4, Saurian Theology by Dr. Muad Ashby. And this is from the Greek text entitled The History of Aset and Asar, the 4th Salier Papyrus and the Chester Beatty Papyrus. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, of course, but just the part. Why isn't she moving? There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, are you going to cooperate with me today? Whoa. I'm a little difficulty with my cursor. Seems to be going at its own. It's got a mind of its own right now. It's got some weird pointer. Okay, just a minute here. Let's see what page am I on. Page 138. Oh, there it is. Okay, stop. It's not stopping. Ooh. Okay. Okay, did it stop? Sorry about this delay. Having a little technical difficulty. Tools. I'm at a loss. Okay. There we go. There. Okay. Okay. The Battle of Heru and Set. Ooh. Now it just disappeared altogether. Talk about chaos. It's a mystery. Here begins the fight between Heru and Set. It began on the 26th day of the month of Jehuti. That's not going to work. All right, I'm going to close it out and try it again. It's got some weird. I'm going to open it again. This time. Okay. One. No, it's doing the same thing. I've never had this experience before. Okay. All right, you know what? I'm just going to do something else because that's not working. Maybe it'll work in a few minutes. Okay. I think this will work here. Okay. So this is not the actual scripture, it's just a summary. The battle between Heru and Set took many twists, sometimes one seeming to get the upper hand, and sometimes the other, yet neither one gaining a clear advantage in order to decisively win. At one point, Set tried to help Heru by catching Set, but due to the pity and compassion she felt towards him, she set him free. So their battle. Until finally, Asar sent a letter pleading with the Aeneans to do what was correct. Oh, I was jumping too far ahead. Okay. Well, I'm just going to give a summary because this computer is not cooperating. So basically, they were having this battle, and it represents the battle within us. And Ra, being the creator, um, was saying that just because Heru is the rightful heir to the throne doesn't mean that he should be the one to rule. And they had the battle between Heru and Set, and in the end, Asar is the one who made the final decision. He sent a letter pleading with the Aeneid to do what is correct. Heru, as the son of Asar, should be the rightful heir to the throne. All but two of the Aeneid. The Aeneid represents the gods and goddesses, all of them. It's like a council. Agreed because Heru, they said, was too young to rule. Asar then sent them a second letter. A scroll of began the letter sarcastically. How good are the deeds of the Aeneid! Justice has sunk into the netherworld. Now listen to me. The land of the dead is full of demons who fear no god or goddess. If I send them out into the world of the living, they will bring back the hearts of evildoers to the place of punishment. Who among you is more powerful than I? Even the gods must come at last to the beautiful west, the final resting place and original source of all things, including the gods. This signifies that even the gods cannot escape judgment for their deeds, since all that exists is only a manifestation of the absolute reality which goes beyond time and space. That which is in the realm of time and space, humans, spirits, gods, angels, nectars are all bound by its laws. Following the receipt of the Tsar's scroll, the letter, Heru was crowned king of Egypt. Set accepted the decision and made peace with Heru. All the gods rejoiced. So it's unfortunate I'm not able to read the other part. I'm hoping that it will clear up in a moment. But this holiday is an observance of the Ra settling this dispute between Heru and Set. And it seems to me that it's actually Asar that settled the dispute. I don't know if that's true, but that's my research. Because I really wanted to share this part about Ra. It's kind of funny. I'm going to try one more time. Pooja, do it for joining me. I've just been doing some readings from the Purdon Heru and other sacred texts, and I'm currently having an issue with my cursor. It's not just letting me scroll through pages. So I'm just trying to figure this out. Just gonna give it one more second. Okay, here's one part about Ra's speech. This is earlier than the part I just read. The sun, the god Ra, then said, I am not in agreement with that, referring to the decision that Heru should be crowned the king, since Set stole the throne from his father. And now Heru is grown. This is where the story for the Lion King comes from. We're going to break your bubble. So at this point, Heru has come back to claim the throne. And so Ra says, I am not in agreement with that. Having said this, the entire hall fell into a cold silence. The Aeneid, the council of the nectars, the gods and goddesses, came up with the idea of calling Batjed to judge the issues. He suggested that they send a letter to Nit, the divine mother. Jehuti immediately set about to write the letter in the name of the All Lord. Quote, as king of Upper and Lower Egypt, beloved of Jehuti, I ask you, how should we decide between these two who have been before the tribunal for 80 years? Wow, I didn't know that the battle of Heru and Set was 80 years. Net replied thus, give the throne to Heru, the son of Asar. This is the correct way to justice. If you do nothing else, it will be injustice, and you will suffer the consequences for your evil doings. I shall become angry and cause the sky to come crashing down upon you. Give Set two goddesses to attend on him. and increase his wealth by a factor of 2. Then you will have done what is correct. Good job. So I just find it interesting that there's a holiday for Ra judging the dispute, but in the end, it wasn't Ra's decision. So I'm going to continue to study this. This is new to me. I've never really followed these holidays before. It's working now. Okay. Hearing this, it's going too fast. Come back. It's definitely got a mind of its own. Here we go. One more thing I wanted to read about Ra's speech. Okay. Hearing this, Ra became angry, saying, "This feeble child cannot be given the throne of Egypt." Hearing this, the gods and goddesses of Yania became angry themselves, and Baba, the baboon god, spoke out, "The shrine of Ra is empty. We do not take any further notice of you." Ra, feeling bad to himself, covered himself and laid down on the ground. So I've been told that I learned that Ra is the ego of Nebuchadnezzar, so that even Ra expresses egoism. I think egoism only exists in time and space, and that it must be a side effect of creation. And then we spend our entire lives. Looks like this battle went on for 80 years. Maybe it takes 80 years to defeat egoism. I don't know. Okay. And I had. I was going to turn that into a song. And then one more reading. Might be too long. Okay. So this is taken from the Temple of Amun book, Amun Ra of Abu Simbel by Dr. Wada Ashby, page 170. And this is from Adoration by the Human Royal Personality of the Great Divinity, who is also Horus Ra, the royal person's own higher self. And so we're instructed to make offerings to our higher self and to see ourselves as in this illustration. I hope it's going to come through. Here's an example of royal personality making offering to the higher self. And that is one way that we can, we can overcome egoism by remembering our royal personality, our divinity. And again, let me state, these are my comments of the artist, and they're not necessarily the views of the SEMA Institute or our spiritual preceptors. I'm very grateful to my spiritual preceptors for presenting this information. And my job is to put it to music and share. Okay, so this is one more reading about the battle. A further remarkable aspect of this panel, which includes new insight into the nature of ancient Egyptian spiritual identity wisdom, is that the entity being worshipped while being recognized as a higher form of the royal person, namely Heru Ra, that higher self designation also contains an epithet that we saw earlier by including the term Pa Neter A, or the great divinity. Therefore, we are to additionally understand that the higher self of a human being is the nature of the sun god, the creator spirit, manifesting as the solar hawk. Heru, the solar hawk, is the son of Asar and Set, and the one who defeated the unrighteous, egoistic personality represented by the god Set, who killed Asar and usurped his throne. Asar is the soul, and the god Set is the symbolic representation of egoism in the personality, and Aset represents the Aku, the shining spirit, intuitional wisdom aspect of the personality. Asar, Set, and Aset are all locked into a divine drama that depicts the journey of the soul through time and space existence, along with its interactions and relations with personalities of other human and divine beings, as well as the interactions of those divine qualities as the qualities of the human psyche. This divine drama is playing out in the different aspects of the personality of the royal person and throughout their life. But just as the god Heru defeated the god Set and thereby regained his father Asar at the behest of his mother Aset, in the same way, the royal person assumes the character, or shall we say, discovers that aspect of personality Heru, the heroism, within himself herself, so as to successfully tread the path of life and of the temple. Okay, this concludes the listening to the teachings of the program, and I'm going to go back to some music. Okay, that one. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, all right. So what I have right now, I'm going to read the translation first. And this is the Heru and Wisdom on the cause of conditioning from the stele of Abu. The duality in life causes a life based on desire and hatred, leads to the impetus for human incarnation, the cause of ego and reincarnation. And this is also from the Temple of Amun-Ra text. And the translation of the chant: hear this important teaching. Those people who are alive, living on earth, the physical plane, who live life clinging to being alive and hating the idea of death, that way of life, their perceived experience of living, emphasizing human existence as an abiding, desirable, and not illusory reality. This way of thinking and feeling is the cause of the desire to plant oneself, to establish oneself on earth perpetually, and this desire causes reincarnation, since no one can live on earth continuously forever. To those people, I say the following. Turn away from the deluded notions about life as if illusory desires ever be fulfilled, thereby ignorantly and instinctually living by love or hate, desire or repudiation, like a thoughtless, instinctual animal, a way of life that intensifies duality, dualistic thinking, mental agitation, ignorance and egoism, conflict, frustrations, combativeness, suffering. The desires of love and hate cloud the mind and prevent a higher vision of existence and lead to control by ego set and to reincarnation. Instead, do what I did. Turn to the temple and its teaching. Turn worldly love into temple devotion by making offerings of thousands of loaves of bread and drink to the sacred mascot of Asar, the Apis bull, and to the temples, and thereby engage in devotions and temple rituals to cleanse the personality and become worthy of the temple wisdom through association with priests and priestesses, to become free from delusions of life so as to discover the true nature of existence beyond physical mortal existence. Wow, that's a mouthful. Literally, because mouth is a symbol for consciousness. So I'm going to make an offering with the meta-nature of what I just read, and that's from page 2829, Heru and Wisdom on the Cause of Conditioning, Volume 5 of the Persian Guru Abu Symbol, translated by Dr. Wada Ashby. For those of you just tuning in, this is the Ancient Africans Adoration, Musical Offerings, and Wisdom Teachings in honor of the day, October 9th on our calendar, when Ra judges a dispute between Heru and Set. Aku Taparuan, Mesjen kept in their channel all top time. Jetin Katanu, Yemakiabu, Erapen. Aku tep meruang. Mes chet kep in there. Chet oa tep tam. Chetin katanu. Imaki abu. Erapen. Aku tep meruang. Mes chet captain chet oa tep tam. Chetin katanu. Inamaki abu. Erapen. Tep meruang. Mes chet kept in their channel, I tapped on. Chetin katanu, emaki abu erape. Aku tap meruang. Mes chet kept in their channel, I tapped on. Chetin katanu, emaki abu erape. The Tearing Wisdom on the Cause of Conditioning. Volume 5, Purdon Haru, page 28, 29. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, Volume 5, Temple of Abu Simbel, by Dr. Monash. I've never played this one with the harp. And this is a down that I learned from the Temple of Shaitan Nature Prayer Book. And it's considered, what is it? I didn't mark the page, just a minute, please. Here it is. These are it's a selection of chants from the Purdon Haru and just different scriptures. So I'm choosing one that has a reference to conquering Set. And the translation is, I have gained power in the water as I have conquered Set. And I interpret that to mean like emotions. I associate water with emotions and feelings. Sekemai muause, 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 Sekamamu ause. 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 I have gained power in the water as I have conquered sin. And I have two Kemetic proverbs I wanted to share. This is from the book of Ancient Egyptian Proverbs by Dr. Wada Ashby. You can see I am a devoted student of Dr. Ashby and his works, and I'm taking some time out from my studies to organize my music study, which is my vehicle for cleansing my RU and sharing the wisdom teachings. So I'm going to put this on with my sistrum. Sistrum is the Kemetic instrument that is beating chaos. And usually goddesses are playing them. Heteru, Shisheta, Alubas. This has Heteru as the heart chakra, or Aritu, Sepik Bara. This is the image likeness of Heteru. And then the three upper Aritu, Sepik Bara chakras, the throat chakra, the first eye, and the crown chakra. Awaken yourself, you who are heavy. Rise up against them. Raise yourself in a star as a spirit divine, as the son of Geb. Being his firstborn, arises unto and be the object of adoration for all. I'd like to just do an offering with those netters. Let's try that. To arise, to again, to ascend, to a song, to undo, to a Heru, to arise, to again, to a song, to ascend, to undo, to a Heru, Nipura, Nipuge, Nipurasa, Nipuse, Nipuanbu, Nipuheru, again, do a song, do a say, do a poo, do a heru, the pura, the puse, the puasan, the puge, the puan the pueru, do a ra, do a sing, do a song, do again, do a poo, do a heru, the pura, the puge, the puasan, the puse, the puan the pueru, the pueru, the pueru. Good job. And that is a melody that came through for the Kemetic proverb that was read earlier. And if you just tuned in, you can watch the replays for more information. And the last Kemetic proverb I wanted to share for this evening is to inspire us. And I'm going to read it twice because the first time I read it, I didn't really get it. And the second time I read it, I got it. Stand up and throw off the earth that is on you, and do away with those two arms of Set that are behind you. I'll read it again. Stand up and throw off the earth that is on you, and do away with those two arms of Set that are behind you. So what came to me the second time is, like if you're identifying with a Sar, or the soul of Sar, or us here in time and space in this physical body, we're spirits trapped in water encasements. We have to stand up and throw off the earth that is on us, because to me that reminds me of being a grave, or in a mummy, wrapped in mummy bandages and buried somewhere. And here we're in this physical realm, and because of conditioning, like I mentioned earlier, we are trapped in materialism, in the matrix. And so the encouragement is to throw off the earth. So let's say you're a mummy, you're in a mummy, and you woke up in eternity, and you have to tear away the bandages, or like in horror movies, you have to dig through all the dirt that they buried over you, but not coming back as a zombie, waking up and enlightened soul. Or on earth, getting rid of your 9 to 5 or the diet or whatever that keeps you trapped in materialism, consumerism, fetters of Set. The bandages of the mummy represent the fetters of Set. So we're ripping the bandages off of our mouth, which is a symbol of consciousness, throwing off the earth that is on us, and doing away with the 2 arms of Set that are behind you. That comes to mind of Set pushing Asar into the tomb. The sarcophagus. Not sarcophagus. I can't think of the word. Right now. It's a tomb. And Set is our egoism that is pushing us to our early grave or pushing us to a life of darkness. So I just wanted to leave you with that proverb. And that concludes the program for today. The Following the Unitarian calendar put out by the templeofamoon.com. You can get your own copy of the calendar. And I'm also publishing or posting the calendar. So the October calendar has been posted, and then I'll post the one for November. And I've been enjoying making offerings in alignment with the calendar, and do more studying and music together. It's just my passion. Putting the wisdom teachings to music, and then being able to share them with people that are seeking to learn more. And if you'd like to learn more about the teachings, go to EgyptianYoga.com. That's the website for Seba Ma, Seba John, Dr. Wanda Ashby, and their wonderful programs at Kemet University. And they have many devotional worship programs available to you as well. And of course, I hope you continue to join me here for Ancient African Adorations. There's a comment. And I posted the calendar. Thank you so much for being here, Temple of Jayuti. Temple of Jayuti. And is that Jayuti? Temple of Behuti. Thank you for being here. I've got 60-year-old eyes, so that's why I wear my pinhole glasses so I can keep up with the comments. The book. I don't know which one we're talking about. This one, I showed a bunch of them. This one, yeah. They're all wonderful books and teachings, and like I said, I just had to take a breather to process all the things that I've learned. The most significant thing I've learned was identifying my egoism, and that caused me to take a step back from a lot of the things I was doing, including putting on music presentations. And now I'm offering them in this way in alignment with the calendar. And so the next one actually is tomorrow morning. So I'm going to jump off of this transmission and get ready for that one. A set goes forth. So thank you for joining me, Dua. If you have any questions, reach out to me in my inbox. And I'll be posting the replays for the concert yesterday and today as soon as possible. And also, if you're following me on Instagram or Facebook, please note that at the end of October 31st at midnight, I will be deleting my Facebook account, which means my Instagram and Facebook accounts will no longer be available. I'm in the process of transferring some of the wonderful content to other platforms such as Telegraph, Pinterest, and I'll be on TikTok still, and my music is still on Spotify and Etsy, and of course YouTube. And I don't know if there's anything else. And if you'd like to get emails or text messages from me, if you're not on those social media platforms, just reach out to me. It looks like there was some more comments here. Let's see. Ashe, my beautiful spiritual sister, adept sister, you are doing a wonderful job teaching my sister love, and you have peace and blessings. What was the first one? Yes, all the books that I've mentioned, Laudi, are by Dr. Wada Ashby Sevama. I'm basically an unofficial outreach program because the teachings have changed my life in so many ways. And most of all, it helped me to change my mind because the ego lives in the mind, in our brain, and it's limited. The mind is limited to like the physical realm, and our infinite mind is what is projecting our reality. And when we're in tune, we are we allow the cosmic mind of Jehudi to fill our infinite mind, and that is what projects our reality. And that's the goal. We don't want our ego to project our reality. We want to be open to the infinite reality. And so the teachings by Dr. Ashby and the classes I took are what allowed me to change my mind. And the other thing I want to share about the mind is, and this is not from Saigon Ma's teaching, this is my own observation and other studies that I've done, is the heart is made with the same cells as the brain, neuropeptides. So the heart actually has a brain. Like what happened to the Unitarian conferences that Saigon Ma would hold? Are they no longer? They have moved them online last year because of COVID. It was online, and then this year there was still a lot of uncertainties as far as traveling, and so it's online. I believe it is $199, and I believe you can still get the early bird discount. So I highly recommend you go to their website, egyptianyoga.com. The theme for this year's conference is Back to Basics, the Asarian Resurrection. He's covered so many topics in the conferences. I've been going every year since 2009. This will be the first one that I will not be attending. And I was talking about the heart. So what I want you to remember is the mind, which is housed in the brain, is split into two. And so we're constantly going back and forth, and that's our egoism, the duality. But the heart is centered in oneness. There's only one heart, and it is not divided. And so what I've been practicing is, once I remember my infinite mind and connect to Nebuchadnezzar and the cosmic mind Judy, then I tune into my heart and check in with my heart and my feelings. When you meditate, you're advised to stop thinking. I'm trying to stop thinking even when I'm not meditating. Stop thinking, what am I feeling? What is my intuition telling me? Because even the gut and the womb are lined with neuropeptides, and they are more trustworthy than your thoughts that are tainted with egoism. Okay, so that's a lot. Thank you for being here tonight. I will post a replay. I'm really happy with the new song that came through. That's the one that I'll be posting. Eventually, I'll be going back and listening to all these recordings, and I'll have enough music to make endless amount of CDs. So, Dua again for joining me. The next edition is tomorrow morning at 6:45 a.m. A set goes forth. Hatep. Mer and Hatep. Dua for joining. Thank you for being here and for your questions. If you have any more questions, just put them in the comments. Hatep. Oh my gosh, is she here already? Tapestry. Okay.
Oh,